we just wanted to sit down and talk. The last time we did this was kind of messed up.
Camera
in
wasn't
a bedroom. Camera wasn't focused.
Yeah.
But now we're in a studio. We're able to chat it up, talk about our lives, our beliefs, our business,
what we're working
our
on,
stories,
and where we're going. That's really it. What are we working on? Where are we going? What's the plan?
Exactly.
Let's dial into it.
Let's dial in. So what have you been working on recently?
Me? Man, it's a big question. Right now, it's just been building myself and creating amazing relationships. I'd say those are the two key things. I mean, primarily, I got my real estate license, obviously, as people know on my Instagram. And my primary focus lately has been building the real estate business. How do I provide the best service to my customers who are primarily families looking to relocate, buying, selling, relocating. And every situation is very unique, so it's constant problem solving and building out systems, infrastructure, and at the same time building a database, building relationships with people that I can help over the long period of time. Because ultimately, it's not about getting that $1 million deal that's important to me. What's more important is building the relationship with a family where I help them accomplish their goal, and they're extremely happy about the services that I provided because it helped them to get to where they need to be. And because of that relationship I've built, down the road, they'd refer me to their family, friends, leave me a 5-star review, and do business with me down the road. And that's what it's all about, is doing business with great people.
Yeah.
That's what's important to me.
And is that why you decided to pursue real estate and build relationships with people in that way?
I would say the primary reason of why I got into real estate was along the lines of my big why, which is, how do you live a fulfilling life? And I think one thing that comes with living a fulfilling life is providing to others. I think you need a sense of purpose. And if you don't have a sense of purpose, or if you're not giving and helping other people solve a problem in their own life, then there's no really sense of fulfillment of what you're doing. So I feel like you almost need to feel like that what you're doing is important and is helping other people, and fulfillment will come along with that, and so will money and wealth. And for me, money and wealth is important because that will allow me to not just provide to my own family, but also to the people, to other people that I think are worthy of help.
Yeah. I mean, wealth and money, at the end of the day, I always say it just gives you freedom. It doesn't give you happiness.
No, it exacerbates your ability to provide to others. And, I like to use the analogy of, you could have a good person with good morals and good intentions and give them a lot of money and they will do a lot of good. You can give a bad person with bad morals and bad intentions a lot of money and they're going to do a lot of bad. And all I think money does is multiplies and amplifies the kind of person you are, but doesn't necessarily make you a good or bad person. It just exacerbates the person you are.
It just brings out what qualities that you have already almost.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's an interesting concept to think about because I look at myself, and the whole reason that I decided not to go get a 9-to-5 job. I mean, I went to college for 4 years. I played football in college. I could go get a job. I feel like for me that wasn't fulfilling enough though. I couldn't just go. I felt like I would be selling out if I went and started applying to all these jobs and did something that I wasn't necessarily fond of or wasn't passionate about. It was like, I feel like I can positively impact millions of people. That's just how I feel in my heart. And not just feel that way, I know that I will do that in my life. And the only way to do that right now that I see is to go out on my own and start building these connections, building the infrastructure for my business, for these relationships that I'm going to maintain and keep on, that are going to help me reach all those people.
Yeah, well, I have a question. So when you, because you went to Brookdale, right?
I went to Monmouth University.
I'm sorry, Monmouth. Yeah. So you went to Monmouth, and when you graduated, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So when you finished school, and you were in the position where normally you'd apply for jobs, after going through schooling, what had you decide you know what, I'm going to take a couple of years or a couple of months, not apply for jobs, and try to build something myself?
Well, initially I had told my parents while I was in college, I tried to convince my parents to let me drop out like sophomore year, junior year of college. And I said, Mom, Dad, I'm not going to get a job after college. So you're going to be wasting your money having me stay here for the next 2 years. Like, let me drop out and let me do my business and videos and whatnot. And they said, no, you're going to get a degree. Fine. I did. And I'm grateful for that. But when I graduated, it was, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of time to myself. So I lifeguarded for the summer. I went to Costa Rica in the fall and traveled and whatnot. And then when I got back, and that was like a 5-month buffer period from graduating, I had like this innate urge of like, okay, I need to do this now. I had like this feeling in my gut that like I wasn't doing anything productive. That wasn't setting me up for the future. I was just kind of existing, right? And that's sort of what made me decide to start doing my own business. And at first it started on me going online and sort of being shy and going on Upwork and reaching out to people with texts and emails. And at some point, I just didn't have any clients after like a month of that. I made some money, but I didn't have any clients. And I just said, fuck it. Like, we're going all in. And that day I got a list of names of businesses and I just went door to door handing out my business card to all these businesses. Just walked into probably 20 businesses and I started getting calls back.
I was going to say, what kind of results did you get from straight up walking to businesses, talking to business owners, giving them your business card and telling them who you are and what you're trying to do?
I mean, the scariest hurdle is starting. Like, for me, it was terrifying for me to go walk into businesses and say, hey, I'm here to sell you something. Like, I'm not buying what you've got. And I actually talked to one of my friend's sisters. She's a very successful saleswoman. She does real well for herself. And I talked to her for like 30 minutes on the phone and almost just had her being like, Cory, you just need to go do it. Like, I hear it. You have the idea there. All the pieces are in place. You don't need to keep waiting. Like, just go do it. And
take the action, walk into the store, have the conversation.
Exactly. Because you don't get anywhere thinking about doing it or planning doing it or talking about doing it. Like, the only thing that gets that thing done is doing the thing. Yeah?
So sometimes the actual planning is what stops you from doing it.
Yeah.
Which is weird to think about.
Absolutely.
A lot of people think that they need a plan when sometimes it's just the actual doing that is what you need. You know, don't sit down and plan, oh, how am I going to pitch my idea of using video to help small businesses build an online presence. Instead of thinking of that plan, just walk into the store, talk to a business owner, and have a conversation and see where it goes.
Exactly. Writing about your business isn't doing your business, or talking about your business is not doing your business. Doing your business is doing your business.
Doing your business is doing your business. Well, that's so well said. What? I have a question. So you said initially you were shy. What do you think gave you the confidence?
I think I had the confidence the whole time. I had it in my head that I was going to do it all online. I wanted to be able to have the freedom to work from my computer anywhere. I thought that would give me the best life. You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason in my head, I had myself convinced that I could only work on my computer. And then I realized I live in this community of Bricktown and the Ocean County area, Monmouth County area that I've grown up in. While I'm here, why would I not utilize these businesses that I've grown up going to and these people that I've built relationships with? And and it ended up just falling into place where I had to get over the mental hurdle of not just putting it off. Like, oh, my business will be here, but it's not here yet. I'm still waiting for that.
Yeah. Talk about, because we were talking about this before, talk about the last 3 months, because your journey just began 3 months ago, really. I feel like. I mean, I know you've done a lot previously. When you were in school, you were telling me that you did radio talk shows. You were doing video for the football program. Yeah. You were trying out all these things. So tell me, what was the breaking point where you started seeing results, started getting hired from clients, or actually building clientele, doing business with business owners. How did you get there?
For the last 3 months, it's been a journey of believing that I can do it almost. It's been a mindset journey of, in the beginning, you're scared. You don't want to go talk to these people and cold call people and talk to random people. But then you start getting more and more comfortable, and the confidence builds and you get some momentum behind you. And I started getting more confident. I got a couple deals in the beginning, and okay, like I got it done, and I had some good deliverables. And I give them to the clients, and you add them to the portfolio. And the next time you go into a business, oh, look what I made, right? So your confidence starts building with every project you do. And eventually, by now, I've done enough projects where I can walk into a business and say, look at this, and slam it on the table and say, this is what I could do for you, and I know it will help. And it's not a matter of, let me try and help your business. Let me try and work with you guys. It's like, if you let me work with you, like, your business will be better.
It's more along the lines of, I'm going to help your business. Here's how.
Exactly. And for me, it's been a matter of, what value do I put on myself? What value do I put on my time? Do I believe in myself? Do I believe in the work that I do? And just waking up in the morning and getting it done, and like having that vision of what you foresee for yourself in the future. And that's been what's driving me for the last 3 months.
Fucking love it, dude.
Yeah, dude. I mean, get up in the morning, go to the gym, go make a coffee.
What's one thing that excites you every day?
One thing that excites me, I wake up fucking, I wake up out of bed, bah, like that in the morning at like 5:30. I'm up. And I go to the gym. I go to the gym at like 5:30, 6 o'clock every day. Get a lift in.
I'm the same way, bro.
Yeah,
I'm the same way.
First thing you do, get up, go to the gym. I get home. Usually I'll meditate or do some breath work when I get home from the gym. Then I make myself a coffee, do some deep work for like 3 hours, take a break, make some lunch, deep work for another 3 or 4 hours, eat dinner, finish some stuff up after dinner, and then enjoy my night. It's every day, just rinse and repeat. It's a little bit different, but I don't know. What about you? Is that a similar?
Dude, that's exactly how my life looks like. I wake up and I do something active. It doesn't necessarily have to be the gym. It could be something as simple as I go outside and I walk a mile. Okay. And I get in the right headspace in the beginning of the day. That's what's most important. If I don't wake up, and you know, we all have our bad days where we're not productive, or we wake up and we're not excited about doing something. And what I found for me is, when I wake up in the morning and I have a good morning between 6 to 8, 9 a.m., and I put myself in the right headspace, I am conquering that day. I am nailing every phone call. I am helping every possible person I talk to. I'm living.
You set yourself up for success in the first 2 hours of your day, right?
Yeah. And what I notice is, the days I don't do that, it snowballs into an unproductive rest of the day, which I've noticed. And every day is day one. That's the other mindset thing is, you know, you wake up in the morning and it's day one. It's day one again. It's the only time that exists is now. Yeah. There really is no tomorrow. The yesterday already happened. Today's the only day.
Yeah. So what do you do to keep your mindset right? Because it seems like we're both on the same idea of, yeah, business is important, but your mindset towards your business is probably more important than the actual business that you're doing.
For me, the most important thing is the environment of which I put myself in. The environment matters so much. And that environment is really the people that you're in business with, the people that you're talking to every day, the people that you have genuine close relationships with. You know, if you're in an environment of people who aren't for growth or for learning, you're not going to grow and learn. If you're in an environment of people who are for growth and learning, you are going to grow and learn. And what I did out of high school when I got my real estate license, and the reason why I've learned what I've learned over the last 2-3 years, is because I threw myself in a room with people who are substantially smarter than me, substantially more successful than me, have put in way more time and have built way more experience and credibility than I have in the real estate industry. And I just threw myself in those rooms. And because I listened to these people, I eventually became like those people. And I've learned what they've learned from their experiences. And I was able to do that in a much shorter period of time than they were.
What are some of those? What are some of the things that those people taught you when you were able to sit in a room with them? Like, what did you get from observing those successful people at that time?
I mean, I would say the byproduct is who I am today. That's really it. I mean, one thing is as small as my ability to speak. No ums, likes, buts. No, pause when you have to. Or it could be something as simple as that or as small as that. It could also be along the lines of just solving certain problems. Because another thing my mentor told me that we live by is 2 heads is always better than 1. You run into a problem, why be the only person to face that problem when you can have 3, 4, 5 other people to share that problem with and get 3, 4, 5 different opinions on a possible resolution to that problem to most efficiently solve it. And that's a key that goes along with the conversation that I just had about putting yourself in the right environment. If you're in an environment where you can share your problems that you're having, whether it's in your personal life or in your business life, you can get multiple heads, multiple different perspectives from people with different life experiences to create the best possible resolution for that problem, whatever it is in business or personal life.
Yeah, and I think that's why we ended up coming together and becoming friends over the last couple months, is like we sort of resonate with each other's problems, and we're doing on the same entrepreneurial path and networking and talking to people and doing the Instagram thing. And ultimately we're creating a school community, which is the whole.
I'm so excited for this community. You can't even think. I can't even fathom how excited I am to build what we're trying to build right now.
No, and it's gonna be awesome because I've been going to the Chamber of Commerce events and whatnot, right? And it seems it's beneficial. I like networking and getting the practice of talking to people and meeting all these local business owners because they're successful in that sense. But what they don't have is they're not sharing their struggles. They're not sharing their problems. They're not sitting there and telling you how they do it or what they're running into, helping you through your problems. It's very transactionally based.
Do you think it's more along the lines of people kind of showing off what they've done to get to more, or is it?
I think it's a mix of both because there's people there genuinely for the right reasons. And the right reasons for me, of what I understand for a networking group, would be to help others, to build relationships, and to refer business, right?
I agree.
Not typically to do business. Like, that's a byproduct. Whether it's, say you end up hiring me to make you videos in the future. Like, that's a byproduct of a relationship that we've built. That shouldn't be the goal of a relationship,
100%.
So what we're doing with the school is we're taking all that should be good about these networking groups and we're making it into a group for these young people like ourselves, and we're taking these people on the journey with us. Like, I started this 3 months ago. You started this 2 years ago. We're still sorting out our systems. We're still troubleshooting our problems. We're still running into all this bullshit that we shouldn't have to. And as we run through it, we're going to have you guys running through it with us. Like, that's going to be as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, we're all going to be failing and learning together. That's the idea.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if we, like you said the last time we spoke, is if somebody else runs into a problem, why should I run into it too? Like, if I'm running into a problem with reaching out and cold calling people and it's not working for me, why would I let you run into it too? Why can't we just share the same information and get wise and intelligent together and learn from one another?
There's a clip of Mr. Beast. Do you know the clip I'm referencing?
I think you spoke about it last time, but go ahead.
I can't reference the exact clip perfectly, but it's along the lines of the idea of 2 heads is better than 1, and he goes to explain. He's like, I run into an issue or run into a problem. If I were to grow my business on my own or grow my YouTube channel on my own, and I were to run into a problem and I have to figure that problem out myself, only I learn from that. But if there's 5 of us all trying to accomplish the same goal of building a YouTube channel, for Mr. Beast's analogy, and he goes, I run into a problem and I solve that problem, well, I can share that resolution to all 5 of us. And now we're all learning and growing 5 times faster, because I'm going to run into a problem and solve it. Then Cory's going to run into a problem and solve it. Then person 3 is going to run into a problem and solve it. And we're all solving problems just 5 times faster because we're all doing it together.
Exactly. And it saves you 5 times the time rather than running into all those problems.
And like I said before, when I threw myself into that room of people who have the experience, have the credibility, and have already accomplished what I'm trying to grow and accomplish, I was able to do what they're able to do much sooner, because they've already solved the problem. They had to solve a lot of the problems themselves, that of which they're already presenting a resolution for me.
Yeah. And you also have this young mind that can take on problems from a different perspective than a lot of them can, that may be in their 30s or 40s. Not to say that that's old, but when you have this young mind that's fresh and it doesn't have all the shit in it from the work world and in the professional corporate world, like, you could just take on things a little differently than other people. You can face them with a bit more ambition, a bit more risk even, like.
Well, that's the other thing is the reason why we're able to do what we're doing now is because we have the ability to take such a large risk because we have nothing to lose. I mean, what do you have to lose? You know,
Not much.
I don't have much to lose.
I still live with my parents.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna live at home still.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know, and that's the other big thing is people are so afraid of taking risk, and the best time to do it is while you're young, no doubt about it. Because as you grow older, say you were to go the stable job route. You know, you were to get a job, you have a stable income, and then you get a house, and now you have a mortgage, and then you get married, and then you have kids. Well, if you want to take a risk at that point, you have a lot to lose.
It's too late.
Yeah. I
Almost.
mean, it's not necessarily too late. However, it would have been a lot easier to just do it sooner. You know?
I know exactly what you're saying. It's why not take the risk now? And you told me you made the video on Instagram the other day about urgency. There needs to be some sense of urgency in what you're doing if you want anything to get done. I mean, obviously I think you agree with it. Like, if you want to build this business, if you want to reach people, you got to do it now. There's no, oh, you know what? Let's do it tomorrow, or I'll put that in my calendar for next week. It's like, why? Why you have right now to go ahead and do all this stuff, which is, we're talking about building this community. Yeah, we could go wait till our businesses are prospering and then build this community, but why would we wait? Why not do it now and bring people along for the journey? For me, why would I wait to have a job for a couple years and learn from professionals before I go do my own business? When I can figure it out on my own and learn from people that are doing it professionally and build relationships with new people. Like I've talked to Evan Farrar and Darnell and these other guys that I've shadowed and been able to talk to and learn from. Like, that's what this is about, is fucking do it right now rather than wait.
Don't wait, man.
Just stop waiting.
Don't wait.
Just stop waiting. Because I hear people, right? Somebody I was speaking with, and I was telling them about, they were talking about how they want to get into real estate. They were talking about how they want to get an investment property and whatnot. But I'm going to work for a few years and then I'm going to do it. But they have all this money in the bank right now. And I was like, why are you waiting? And, I don't want to touch that money yet, whatever. You don't want to touch that money. Like, you got all the money right now. Like, why wouldn't you put all your knowledge into this right now and then go do it right now? Like, the world's not waiting for you. Like, you're waiting for you. Like, what? The stars are aligned. It's just where you're looking at them. Are you looking at the stars from the right perspective? Because they're aligned somewhere.
That's the other thing. It's like the idea of, like, the stars are aligned, but at the same time, there's never right time to do it. The only right time is now for whatever it is. You know? I mean, it's like, the only right time to do it is now.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
So I read this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I'm not sure if you've read it.
I haven't read it, but heard of it.
So he talks about that aspect of urgency, right? And he talks a lot about desire as well, and how your desire for your success is the ultimate driving factor that's going to give you your success. So you match your desire with your burning desire, he calls it. You have this burning desire for this clear vision of the future that you have, and you act with urgency every single day until that is your reality. You have to live delusionally. You have to be in delusion every day, believing in yourself and acting as if you're already done. So if you want $1 million, how would you wake up every day and act if you had $1 million? If you want your own business, how would you wake up and act every day if you had your own business? And that's what you got to do to get there. There's no stepping stones. It's wake up and be the person that you want to be. There's no waiting period in between it. Like, you have to do that.
You have to be delusional, 100%.
Yeah,
people
dude.
have to think you're insane.
Yeah. You literally have to. I mean, I'm insane. You see all these people, all my friends probably look at my videos on Instagram and whatnot, like, what the fuck is he doing sometimes? But that's it. I'm delusional. It's fun. I have a great time doing what I do. And people from the outside can think that. But I saw this quote on Instagram the other day, or I read it in a book. I forget. It said, why would I concern myself with the opinions of people that I would never want to be?
There's no reason to, yeah. Well, like, that's so true. It's along the lines of, for me, it was find someone who's living the life that you want to live and take that person on, like, as your mentor. That's what I did. Mm-hmm. You know, I saw people, and if you're learning from someone who's not living the life that you want to live, don't listen to them and find somebody else to learn from. I don't know if I'm taking this in a completely different direction, but
no, it's fine. It's
that's
wherever we're
like
going.
that was my, like, idea of, you know, you absorb the information that the environment you put yourself in provides, and yeah, I mean, it really comes down to that. I feel like
you were talking before about, like, the relationships and who you surround yourself with. Like, you end up being the byproduct of who you surround yourself with, what you consume. If you're reading all these books that are personal growth and self-improvement and having relationships with successful people, you're going to become that. The things that come out of your mouth are going to be aligned with self-improvement and self-growth and self-love, and then you're going to be talking successfully like these people. And do you have any experience with that, like seeing how the people that you're surrounded with have reflected onto you?
I 100% do. In fact, I will catch myself doing things or saying certain things, and I'll catch myself doing it, and I'll almost instantly realize, oh, that's something Joe has done multiple times, like one of my mentors. Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, I became a byproduct of him, and therefore that was the response I had to that question. Or, like, you know, that's exactly something Gil would do, and therefore that's why I said that, or that's why I did that. And I almost see like the outcome of myself has almost been like a reflection of the people I have been surrounded with the last 2-3 years.
I agree with that 100%. I see it more. It seems you've had more mentors, right? You've had a lot of people that you've been able to work with and shadow and have conversations with. Partly probably because you've been in it longer than I have, but also because you've actively seek that out. Am I right when I say that?
Yeah, I mean, that's like the real estate team I joined. I instantly had a network to reach out of people to reach out to who are professionals in that specific industry.
Yeah, and
they were all my mentors. I mean, even like Paolo, my real estate attorney, like I can give him a call and ask him any question, and I will learn from it, just from that conversation. And it's all like, I have Gil, I have Joe, I have Paolo, I have this guy Chris, I got my friend Gabs, I have all these people that I can reach out to present a problem that I'm having in business or personal life, and, you know, get get a really good response, or like almost like just learn from it, from these people. And that's been the primary factor for my success, has been these relationships that I've built over the last 2 years with great people who have different experiences, but those experiences, have been very beneficial, in terms of like solving my own problems. And same thing vice versa. Like these people come to me sometimes and asking me questions because I see life from a completely different scope of experiences than they do. And sometimes I can help them solve their problems.
Yeah.
It's
like you are valuable in that sense as well.
Yeah.
It's like not every relationship, or no relationship, is completely one-sided.
Absolutely not. Because like taking that perspective, they're like a lot of times you end up in a network of people that are your age group, and there's both pros and cons to what I did, where I kind of surrounded myself with individuals who are older than me, but the pro is they're more experienced and they're professionals in the industry at that point because they've been in it for 10, 15, 20 years. But from their point of view, like them coming to me to ask me, maybe they have a problem and they want a lens or a perspective of a 20-year-old, that could be valuable to them as well. And like you said, relationships are not one-sided.
No, never one-sided.
And if it is one-sided, it's not a healthy relationship.
Yeah. Something I've been doing, and maybe you've done it too, is I don't go into meetings. I have a lot of one-on-one meetings with people, and I've went into one-on-one meetings where somebody sat down and given me a whole sales pitch and tried to sell me something when we're just both business owners that are looking to have a conversation. Like, you don't need to sell me something, right? But I go into these meetings as practice, communication practice, right? I think the most crucial skill to learn in life is communication. To be a master communicator is going to set you up for success in any industry that you're a part of. Being a master communicator is going to set you up in that sense.
I think that's probably one of the most important skill sets, if not the most important skill set to have in life, is to be able to communicate a thought to somebody else. Because if you can have amazing thoughts, you could be extremely intellectual. However, if you can't communicate those thoughts or those perspectives to other people, the thought is almost wasted. It's never put into action.
You could have a great mind. You could have a great imagination, be incredibly creative. But if you can't take what's in your mind and get it into somebody else's brain, you're not a successful creator. That's as simple as it is. You can't be a successful business owner either, because you need to be able to take whatever you think, whatever you believe, whatever you feel in your mind, and you need to be able to take that and put it in somebody else's brain with words, with your body emotion.
What do you think are certain practices that you've taken to help improve your communication?
I would say there's a couple things. I mean, I majored in communications in college. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was a communications major in college. I focused in radio and television. But we did learn a lot about modes of communication and how to communicate with people and whatnot. But for the most part, I've learned more about communication in the last 3 months doing business than I did in college, probably. Because I've actively been seeking out that information and learning about it and actually taking these things that I maybe heard in college and putting it into practice and observing people when they speak, observing body language, seeing if somebody's facing you square, are they turned off from you? Are they making eye contact? Is their voice inflecting high or low at the end of their sentences? Kind of being very present and very aware with other people when you're communicating is probably the most effective way to effectively communicate.
Yeah, I mean, communication comes down to everything. Tonality, facial expressions, what you say, obviously, body language. Mm-hmm. It all combines.
Well, I think that
sure.
It matters less what you say and more how you say it.
Absolutely.
Because I could tell you, yeah, I like doing business with you. Or I could tell you, Yeah, I don't really like doing business with you, and you're gonna be like, you're like, what one makes more sense?
Contextualization is very important.
Yeah,
I mean, how you say it totally alters the actual meaning behind what you're trying to say. And at least in sales, that's very important when you're having conversations with clients, is how you present something, how you say it. You know, and that, like, even along the lines of the confidence factor is a huge has a huge effect on how you say something as well. Like,
absolutely.
if you're certain, or if you're confident about something, if you know that you can get a certain result, you're going to say it very differently than if you have a level of uncertainty.
Absolutely.
And I think that that is very important, at least in my work, because another thing is, I forget, but it's around the idea that, like, I know that my services will benefit you as a client rather than working with someone else, because what we've built is the best possible solution for you. And I'm so confident that we can help you better, help you get to where you want to be better than anyone else. And that confidence that what we've created is the best possible product to get to you to where you want to be allows me to speak, and to speak in a sense where I know I can get you there. And therefore, every single point I make is with 100% confidence and certainty, which has totally increased my ability to close.
Yeah. Well, people sniff out confidence, and people mirror what you're giving them.
Yeah.
People are a mirror. If you're confident in how you propose your pitch to somebody, or how you're communicating with somebody, they're gonna give that back. Or if you're, you're timid and whatnot, they're gonna be the same way. If you're giving them timidness and maybe you're not confident in what you're selling, they're gonna be not confident in wanting to buy it. That's just how the transactional relationship and communication works.
You can 100% sniff out confidence or unconfidence or uncertainty. And I think that confidence comes with experience as well, which is, the more you put yourself into a certain situation and you do that on repeat, the more experience you're going to get over time. Therefore, the more confident you're going to become when you put yourself in that room. For me, that room is a listing appointment. I'm meeting with a family. They're considering on selling their home. The first time I walked into that home, I was speaking like this. I was terrified. I was nervous. I didn't have any experience, but I put myself in that room again and again and again and again. And then I got a family to hire me. They signed a contract to hire me to represent them with the sale of the largest financial decision of their life. And I closed that sale. And then I did it again and again and again. And over those experiences, you build the confidence. So then when you walk into that room again, you know exactly how you're going to present yourself. You're going to present yourself with confidence.
So how has stacking these deals for you built your confidence, and how have you seen that affect your business in general?
Experience is a form of leverage. So the more experience you have, you also see a consistency in similar problems. So, when you solve a problem once and you run into that same problem again, well, you've already solved it. So you're going to be able to do it much quicker that second time, or do it in a better way because you learned from that problem the first time. And stacking those experiences gives you the confidence, because you know that whatever roadblock you're probably going to run into in that meeting or in that appointment, you've probably already ran into it before. And then when you actually have that light bulb moment of, I'm running into problem A, what do I do? If you've already solved problem A for somebody else, boom, here's the solution with the most certainty, confident response. And I've seen my conversions much higher between, appointment to close, in terms of meeting with a family who's looking to list and sell their home. If you are in a position where you need to sell, and I get your phone number and we have a conversation over the phone, I'm going to set an appointment with you, and I'm going to meet with you at your home, and I'm going to identify the key points of the problems that you're running into or the problems that you will run into with the sale of that property. And I roadmap out exactly how we're going to get you from point A to point B. And I'm probably going to, from my past experiences, I'm able to do that at a very high level. And like I said, experience is the greatest form of leverage. And that leverage allows me to convert more. So convert more from phone call to appointment, convert more from appointment to contract, convert more from contract to close. And that's what experience has allowed me to do. I mean, I guess for you, over the last couple of months, you've been stacking experiences from talking to all these business owners. How has that affected your outcomes when it comes to like growing your business?
Well, I see what works a lot of times is, like I said, I go into every conversation it's batting practice for communication, batting practice for sales pitches, batting practice for leveraging a client. Like every conversation I go into, it's a new opportunity to get in front of somebody, to show myself off, to show my business off. And I see how my introduction of myself, how I carry myself has changed from the beginning. When you first walk into a business and your shoulders are forward a little bit, hi, do you have anybody who does social media and marketing? Like I make videos, and you're quiet and you're timid, right? But then as you do it a couple of times and you talk to more people, and like you said, you get that experience, that confidence, and you realize it's not so scary. It's not meant to be scary. And you can walk in with your shoulders back and have your voice be strong and have a smile on your face and have your ears ready to listen for what they want to say. And you walk in and
you're instantly in control and you know how to guide the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And something that I've learned more than anything over the experience that I've gotten in the last 3 months is shut the fuck up when you're talking to people, because people don't want to hear you talk. People want to talk. So if you can give people the best question possible, that's the greatest service I can do, is give you a good question and let you listen to your own words.
That is so true, though. Like shutting the fuck up at the right time is so important. Yeah. And listening, because how can you actually know what they want if you don't let them speak?
Exactly. Like a lot of times people think they're in control of the conversation when they're talking the whole time. Salespeople, business owners, whatever, they think, oh, I've got this under wraps. This guy's listening to me the whole time. Nobody wants to sit there and fucking listen to you the whole time. That's just an illusion that people are under.
You want to hear some gold?
Let's hear it.
This is lesson number 1 I learned getting into the real estate sales. Yeah. This is my mentor, Joe, has knocked this in my head 100+ times the first 3 months I was working together with him. Let me ask you this. Who's in control of the conversation? Like you and I talk, or not you and I, but say you were to go into a small business, who's in control of the conversation?
In what sense? Like if I walk into a business and...
Yeah. Like how do you know somebody's in control of that conversation? They're the ones asking the questions.
Yes.
So
yes.
Whoever's asking the question is guiding the conversation.
Absolutely.
And that's how you guide any conversation, is by asking questions and listening to the response. Mm-hmm. And that's really it. And that, at least from my experience, is, that's, and that's where it comes down to. If you're trying to pinpoint a problem or pinpoint a pain point somebody's having, in order to get that pain point, to even find out what's wrong, to present a solution, you got to ask them a subset of questions where they can identify themselves what's wrong and express that to you.
Yeah.
And then once you find the motivation, what's actually going wrong or where the pain point is, and you can express that you're the resolution to that pain point, they're signing anywhere.
Yeah. Give me the paper.
Give me the paper. Let me sign. And that's the ultimate. That is the pathway to sales, at least from my experience. And sales, it has such a bad reputation, the word sales. It's like the word sales. You're just a salesman. You're always trying to sell me something. I'm trying to solve problems and pain points. I'm trying to find a pain point, present a solution, and I happen to get paid in proportion to the size of the problem that I'm solving for you. And that's how everything works in the entire world, in all of human history. That's how it has always worked. You know, you solve the problem way, way back then, you know, instead of getting paid in money, you know, they might give you a couple chickens or something.
Go back to bartering.
Yeah, you're bartering, but like this is how business, like this is how life has always worked.
Yeah, but that's the same. Everybody's trying to sell something. It doesn't matter where you go. If you want to be a business, or if you're working a 9-to-5 job, you're working for somebody that's selling something. Every sales run the world. We live in a society that runs on commerce. Everybody has money and everybody needs to spend money and everybody needs to make money. Like that's just how the whole world works. So why would you not take advantage of this capitalist system that we have and become a master of commerce and become a salesman and learn to sell a product and market yourself and
become a master communicator?
Exactly. Like why would you not? Life is literally a video game. That's one thing that I think about, right?
I want to talk about this.
Yeah,
I like this
because people think like how serious life is and all this, but life is literally a video game. Like whether you're playing GTA or whether you're playing Call of Duty, you're trying to stack up perks and stack up money so you can buy upgrades and everything like that. That's all life is. That's all life is. You gotta do all the hard missions in the beginning, and then you stack up all the perks and all the XP, and then you can start really having fun with the game. And life is that game.
Yeah. I used to play video games up until about 2 years ago because that was the realization I had is why would I play a video game when we're living in one? And you can grow your experience. You can like you're stacking experiences to gain skill sets to build your character to create an amazing life. Mm-hmm. And that, you know, life is a video game. It's funny. It's funny how that is.
My avatar is Cory, and I'm trying to get as much XP as possible, and I'm trying to be in top physical condition. I'm trying to level up this avatar, be as big and strong and wealthy as I possibly can, so I can take on this world. I don't like to say better than everybody else, but better than everybody else.
I was going to say by the balls.
Yeah, take it by the balls. Like, you surf too. You do all these action sports. You snowboard. You do all this stuff, right? You acquire these skills in business, and you go to the gym and all that. It's all just so you can enjoy life more than most people do. Like, you do all these things to get the most out of life, and that's it.
The interesting thing is you don't always want to do them. No. However, when you realize that the feeling afterward, it's like the idea of, you know, when you wake up at 6 a.m., how do you get out of bed? Well, think about your 11 a.m. self. If you wake up and you go to the gym and you get a good workout and you break a sweat and you go home and you have a coffee and you sit down and you're doing 30 minutes of reading and you get some deep work in and then 11 o'clock hits, you probably feel amazing. However, if you hit that snooze button, slept for another hour, woke up, drank a cup of coffee, watched some TikTok on the couch, 11 o'clock hits, you're not going to feel great. And that's sometimes a trick that I use is I think about how I'm going to feel after I do something to get myself to do it even when I don't want to.
That's alchemy. That's literally...
Is that what alchemy is?
Well... I'm not going to get into alchemy because that's a whole podcast episode. But the idea is that your mind is very easily influenced, and the best way to influence your mind in the present moment is by feeling what feeling you would feel in the future if you did that thing. And
boom.
I have here written down like what's the vision for your future self is a question that I was going to ask you, right? But I want to expand on something beforehand. The reason I wanted to ask you that is because when you have that vision, like we talked about before, we talked about the burning desire for the future and a clear vision of what you want to have. When you have that vision of what you want to be, whether you want to have a wife and kids and a happy family and a nice house and a boat, and you want to be able to wake up and surf when you want and go on vacations every couple months. if that's the life that you want to live, you have to think about how would you feel every day when you wake up there? How would you feel waking up next to your wife? And how would you feel picking your kids up from school? You have to feel those feelings right now to make that happen. That goes very in line with what you just said. Like, how would you feel at 11 o'clock if you didn't wake up in the morning versus how if you did?
You hit that on the spot because that's exactly how I think. Like, a lot of the things that I'm doing now is based upon how I want my life to look like in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years, in 30 years, in 50 years. And a lot of the decisions I make now are based on the outcome I want over that long perceived period of time. And that's very important.
Delayed gratification, the stoicism.
The stoicism.
Yeah, I think about that often because there's a lot of times where doing something right now may seem more fun, might make you happier in this moment. Like, there's times you probably tell your friends, I can't go out tonight, and you're on the phone with people or you're going through listings and whatnot. For me, it's editing videos. All my friends are out at the bar. I can't go hang out with them because I got videos to edit and whatnot. And that doesn't always feel good. But then you know what's going to feel good is when those guys are still going to the bar in 10 years and you're on a boat in the middle of the Caribbean Ocean fishing for big fish. Like, when you're doing stuff like that, that's going to be when it pays off.
Yeah.
Going on surf trips all over the world and seeing all these countries and crushing deals, that's when you're going to see the reward.
Yeah, it happens over time. Being able to, delayed gratification, mastering that skill, I think is one of the most important things in life. I mean, from your life experiences, how have you learned to understand delayed gratification?
Well, I think I've always been I've had almost an addictive personality always. You know, like I get hooked on things quick. Like, whether it's sugar or whether it was a vape when I was younger, whether it was pot, whether it was whatever it is, like surfing or guitar, right? If I pick something up and I like it, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So the idea for me was, how can I start getting addicted to good things, right? And trusting that if I get addicted to this thing, whether it be guitar or whether it be my video business, how can I get addicted to that thing and trust that in the future I'm going to get that feeling that I so desire? Like, the reason anybody rips a vape or drinks a coffee all the time or gets drunk, because they want that feeling right now, and it's easy to get that feeling right now. But you got to get addicted to things that are going to make you feel that way in the future. So going to the gym and meditating and working on your business and reading, and that's the stuff that's going to give you the ultimate fulfillment in life rather than that pleasure.
Yeah, 100%. Oh shoot, I just blanked out. I had an amazing question. But I mean, I've had that experience myself. I think, like, my parents, I love my parents. They did an amazing job, at least, like, putting me in certain sports or athletics. And I think I've learned a lot about delayed gratification because of that. Mm-hmm. Primarily swimming. Swimming's been the biggest mental, like, I've built a lot of my mental strength has come from swimming, and along the lines of delayed gratification, or the work that you put in is what you get out. Because how swimming works is talent doesn't go all the way. You can always outwork somebody else, and when it comes down to the race and you're on the block and I'm going against you in the 100 fly or 100 free or whatever the event is, the person that wins, the reason why they won is because they outworked the other person when it came to training. And I think that has gone a very long way for me outside of swimming after high school with everything else that I've pursued. Would you say there's any history of athletics and, like, a relationship that you've had with a sport that has allowed you to build certain characteristics that impacted your success today?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think all that I just said, what I understood those concepts beforehand. I understood those concepts before I read them in a book or before I watched a YouTube video about them. They all came from me when I was growing up playing baseball and then going and playing football in college. those ultimately playing those sports and going to practice and waking up for lifts all these years, that's what taught you more than anything else. And that's what sets you up to make these decisions to be the best version of yourself and whatnot. Like going to college. I tell people all the time, people are like, ask me about college. Like, what did you learned a lot in college? Like, yeah, I learned a lot, but you learn more in college after a weekend of drinking and then waking up on a Monday morning than you do in class. Like, and for me, the football thing, I learned more than anything else in football, and going to these lifts and building community with the team and learning how to talk to coaches, and that's where it all started. And then you put the business stuff after it, and then it's easy.
Yeah. So you'd say you had a pretty similar relationship with football that I had to swimming?
Yeah, exactly. Like you, okay. I understand exactly where you're coming from with swimming. Like you have to go ahead.
I want to break it back though, because it just the last thought I had came back to my head, because we were talking about habits and taking on good habits and bad habits, and how do you take on good ones and eliminate the bad ones? Yeah. Do you know what book came to mind?
What book?
Have you read Atomic Habits?
I haven't. I've heard about
it. The entire book is about that, and it's interesting because it's about like little tricks that you can use to make it a lot easier to take on good habits that you know that would be beneficial for your life over time, and you know that you'd be more fulfilled if you do those actions, and how to eliminate bad ones, such as hitting the vapes, smoking weed every night, going out to the bar every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. Not saying that you shouldn't never do that. Like I always have, from time to time I have my fun, but it's a really cool book about little tips and tricks that you can do to eliminate bad habits and take on good ones. And if you were to read it, I would just read the first half. Like you get everything out of the book in the first half. Huh. But it's pretty good.
I'll have to read that one. I know a couple people who've read it.
And I've actually I've used some of the tricks. Like one example was literally one habit I was trying to take on was reading in itself. And that was the first book I really tried to read in years. And one of the examples from the book was, say you're trying to build a habit of reading. Well, take something that you enjoy and incorporate it with that habit. For example, every morning, I love my cup of coffee. I wake up for my cup of coffee. So what I do is I leave my book right next to my coffee maker. So when I have my morning coffee, I read. And it made taking on that habit a lot easier. But that was one example. Or the vice versa would be to eliminate a bad habit, make it harder. Make it, if you want to hit the vape, don't buy don't buy one. Or if you have a habit of drinking, just make sure that there's no alcohol in your home.
Yeah.
And when it comes 8:00, when you're feeling like having a beer, well, now you're going to have to go all the way to the store to buy a 6-pack to come home and drink a beer. And at that point, it becomes a lot easier to not do it.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, that's just an interesting.
That is. It's like putting those habits into practice, or putting a habit not into practice.
Taking it out of practice.
Yeah.
And it all stems down to back to what we were talking about earlier, is the environment you're in.
Yeah.
And that always has a huge impact on the person that you become.
Very cool. Here, let me ask you one more question and we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear, what are some of the practices that you do every day that keep you sharp, that keep you ready to go when whether it's through business or whether it's just living your life? Is there anything that is there anything? I know there's things that you do every day that keep you in that mindset. So I want to hear about them.
For me, it definitely changes over time. I think that one important thing is always having a challenge to take on, learning something new. Right now, it's been jiu-jitsu. I just started going 3-4 weeks ago. I just walked in cold turkey, put on a gi, paid gave him my credit card information and started showing up and just walked in. And, a couple months ago, my friend Liam Boudet, he does mean, he's a bodybuilder, but he does like diet, nutrition, and weightlifting. So he made a program for me, and I did that for 4 weeks. So I'm always taking on a new challenge, trying something and learning something new. Like I learned a lot about nutrition. I learned, I can go to the grocery store and bang out my groceries in 10 minutes now. Like I learned how to do that because of that challenge I did. And that saves, so much time over the long run. Or like, for a long time it was swimming. Swimming was what it, that's what it was. But for me, it's constantly having something to strive for and learn and getting some kind of new experience and throwing you in a room that is uncomfortable because you haven't had that experience yet. And jiu-jitsu was it's a very intimidating space to walk into cold turkey because it's just intimidating. Like you got a bunch of guys who are rolling around, they could just like armbar you and dislocate your shoulder. Like it's an intimidating room to throw yourself in. And I knew that I was uncomfortable going in, which is almost what like gave me the light bulb moment of I have to do this now.
Very cool.
Do you ever get that where you are uncomfortable about doing something and you almost realize the reason why you're uncomfortable is kind of like the reason why you should do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at a lot of things from like a very spiritual perspective. So like a lot of times I see that as like my internal work of like why this is uncomfortable is because it's something that I have to face. It's something that I was meant to face is why it feels uncomfortable, why there's so much resistance around it. Kind of being vulnerable and being able to like for you, go into jiu-jitsu and go roll around with these dudes that can mess you up and tear your shoulder out your socket. Like you learn a lot from that.
Yeah. So that's what I pinpointing back. Like what was the original question you even asked?
It was just like what practices do you do to keep your mindset?
Yeah. So in terms of practices, it's just some kind of physical activity. Like jiu-jitsu, I recently been doing hot yoga once a week. That's incredible. Cool. Amazing body workout, like full body workout, and on top of that, it totally clears your mind. It's a full hour away from my phone where I'm not thinking about anything outside of really that silent, outside of the pose that I'm doing or whatever it is. I like it levels down to physical activity for me. Yeah. Weightlifting, jiu-jitsu, yoga, surfing, pickleball, running, fishing, used to play tennis, physical activity. It's always been physical activity for me.
Yeah. But you're a human animal. You gotta move that body.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's why, dude, fasting is the shit, man.
I did a fast yesterday, actually. Yeah. I did yesterday morning until lunch today.
Yeah, I like you gotta earn your meal, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Earn your meal.
You feel like so much clearer. I was feeling a little under the weather yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let my body do its thing by itself. So then I just ate breakfast. Was like, I'm not gonna eat till tomorrow, and I feel perfectly fine today.
That's awesome.
But all right, cool. Let's wrap this up. This is always fun, and this was the first episode. We didn't come up with a name. We'll probably drop one on there after the fact. The Cory Ethan podcast for now, but
the Cory Ethan podcast. Yeah, we'll come up with something good.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll clip this up, post it all over Instagram, and we'll start linking up the school stuff because that's coming up very soon.
Like a week and a half, right?
Yeah, like
we're launching the community.
Yeah, I think it's like a week and a half, like 10 days or something. Maybe a week.
We have our first in-person event scheduled for like 3 weeks from now. 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
23rd of March.
We got to confirm the location, but yeah.
Yeah. Got to confirm the location, but
I'm
super psyched.
I'm stoked. And this is always great. We hope whoever listens to this learned something or at least got to hang out with us for a little bit, enjoy it.
Maybe no one will listen, and then in 10 years, they'll scroll back to the bottom of the podcast, and they'll be like, damn, look how far they came.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. Give us a follow on Instagram, and
we are out.
We're out.